All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mind and Body Monday series. I am here today with the famous Tage Lee. Tage, hello and welcome. How are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I don't know about famous, but I'll take it for the moment. I'll take it for the moment.
Well, the reason I say famous is because you are like the epitome of a super mom, superwoman. You are a full-time mom. You have a beautiful daughter named Winslow. You are running a household. You are managing a husband, Ryan, shout out. You have a full-time job. And you are the author of two books, which you have launched in the last few years. And you are pregnant right now.
During a global pandemic. Yes, thank you. I am pregnant, right? I'm very pregnant.
You're very pregnant, so much so that you're going on mat leave in about a week, which is crazy. So
Yes.
thank you for taking the time to be with us here today, you guys. And I think right now this pandemic has bred a lot of area for creativity for people, really exploring their passions. And I know something that I'm very passionate about is writing and journaling. However, you obviously have taken your passion for writing to the next level where you have launched two awesome books. So, can you share with the good people what two books you have launched recently and how did you get started?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a really amazing part of the pandemic, even though I'm super over it. But I always say with kids too that without boredom, you don't have any creativity. So it is really important to kind of be bored and sit with it because I think this is when people get really innovative. And actually, the book the book writing industry and the publishing industry has obviously perked through this time. So it's really interesting, and I can see it in book sales as well. So yeah, in terms of how I started it, I actually had a very amazing creative friend whose name is Kate DeWolf, and she is a watercolorist, and I had actually grown up in university and with girlfriends where I would always do like a silly, ridiculous poem for a friend during their birthday, and and it never made any sense, but it was always really funny, and we always had a good laugh out of it. So she always said, "Well, you should write a book. I'll do the watercoloring for it." So what ended up happening is that we were both on mat leave together, and I was so stressed out about having a kid. I couldn't believe I thought people had lied to me about how hard it was. And I was so overwhelmed. And I really, really, really enjoyed honest parenting. So I said, "What do you want me to write the book about?" And she goes, "I don't know, whatever you want." And of course, the only thing I could think about is how I really would enjoy a glass of wine as I was taking care of my child at certain points of the day because I had no idea what I was doing. I was a little on edge. And so I was like, well, I can think about is how mama needs a drink. So that turned into a joke. The joke turned into me writing the book. and then uh, and then I got feedback from people, and it was actually pretty legit and funny, and people thought it was hilarious. So I had a couple people that said, "You can't do that book. Like, it's not appropriate for you to publish it." And I was like, "Do you know what? Screw you. I'm going to do it." So I put my mind to it and committed to it and told people I was going to do it because I find when you have a really big goal and you tell people that you're going to do it, you create your own kind of peer pressure to actually following through with it. And I always try to follow through with everything that I say I'm going to do. So it was my way of getting my mindset in order to help achieve that goal. And I thought that that was really important. So it was a little bit proving people wrong, a little bit people thinking it was really funny, thought maybe I could do it, and then just committing to it. And I think that was the most important part, is just saying I was going to do it and being vulnerable, not being scared what people really would say about it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like creating that verbal like contract is just a whole
An
nother,
agreement with yourself.
it's like
Yeah.
an agreement with yourself and it's just like a whole nother level of commitment. So your book, Mama Needs a Drink, it,
Yeah.
you know, I I don't even have kids. I don't have a family, and I love reading this book. It is so awesome. You know, it's like how would you describe Mama Needs a Drink? Like it's like a book for adults, but also kind of for kids, but like
Yeah, so there's a really famous book called Go the F to Sleep, and it's so wildly inappropriate, but it's also like really amusing because a whole bunch of parents are just exhausted about trying to get their kids to bed. So it's a more tongue-in-cheek novelty book for adults. Mama Needs a Drink you can read to kids. It never talks about how mama's drunk. But you know, for people who are very careful about what they read to their kids, maybe they don't want to. That's also why I wrote Mama Needs a Vacation, because it was a little bit more appropriate. But it just depends how comfortable parents are. As a parent myself, I try not to judge on what they think is appropriate or not for their kids. But it can definitely be read to children, parents, caregivers, dads. There's lots of jokes going around about how dad needs things too. Dad needs a golf game. Dad needs Sunday football. Dad needs a doobie. Whatever it is. I don't know.
yeah, I love that. It's like it's the perfect gift if you're like giving the mama in your life a bottle of wine, and it
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
could literally be
Yeah.
gifted with
It's
every
just
bottle
it's
of wine.
Yeah, and the goal was the book was obviously not to give parenting advice, because whether I had 100 kids, I wouldn't give parenting advice, and I don't really, I mean, unless people ask for my advice, I give it, but I still don't even know what I'm doing, no matter how many kids I have, and I'll never pretend I know what I'm doing. But it was the goal of it was to make people laugh after a really long, hard day. And the funny part is that kids actually love the book. So I when I did the illustrations, I wanted them to be able to pick out certain things in the book, like dogs or wagons or toys or something like that. But I never thought they'd enjoy it so much. And I kind of secretly think it's because the parents enjoy reading it so much that the kids kind of are automatically kind of drawn to it. At least that's what I'm going with, anyways.
Yeah, there's like a different level of enthusiasm that the kid can probably
Totally.
the energy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. So you have
Yeah.
Mama Needs a Drink, and recently you just published and launched Mama Needs a Vacation.
Yeah.
Also, absolutely unreal. Um,
Thank you.
and I thought it would be cool for you to let us know, like, what if someone is looking to create something like you have, like, what are your top 5 tips that like they must do from the second they have their idea to like that book on the shelf, or like what should people do?
Absolutely. It's such a good question. I tell kids all the time because they're always very fascinated I'm an author, even though I don't think of myself as that, because to me, an author is someone who writes like some sort of beautiful memoir or like scientific encyclopedia on something. And to me, my book is 36 pages. But having said that, it is a huge accomplishment to be an author because it's actually a lot more work. A lot of people have said they've written books, but they haven't actually published them. And publishing it is the hardest work. But now with the new age publishing system is that, Amazon does make it readily available for you to upload a PDF on there and have it ready to print within 48 hours, which is really, really, really cool. I don't think I would have published the book without the help of my friend Megan, who started a company called the Self Publishing Agency. So I think when we're talking about tips on how to write a book, I think you kind of stick with your strengths, the information that and hire out things that aren't your strengths. So my strengths was managing and kind of project managing the whole thing and writing it and knowing exactly what I wanted for my brand and where things were to go. But I hired her, excuse me, I hired her out because she knew, like, you open up a page of a book and it has all this information on like barcodes and ISBN numbers and all this copywriting information. I was like, I'm going to look like a real dummy if I screw that up. So I hired her to help me with that and how to upload it on Amazon, because I didn't want to screw that up, and printing. So I knew my strengths and I knew her strengths. And also I'm not an illustrator. I can draw like a stick man. That's about it. And so I hired an illustrator and a graphic designer. The graphic designer was actually my friend who originally wanted to do the illustrations, but because she does more watercoloring and then realized she probably couldn't draw me with a glass of wine as much as someone else could. She suggested that I hired an illustrator, and I just think the big tip is hire out professional for things you don't feel comfortable with if you have the money for to do it. And you know, as much as we really like people's professional work, I think it's really important to have a personal connection with them and good communication with them. My illustrator, Vivian Miniker, was amazing. And I just found her, I think, on Instagram, and she went with my vibe and she answered all my questions when I needed them in a timely manner. And without that communication, I don't think the relationship or the book would have been so strong, because I got really everything I needed out of her because she listened to my requests and she was really prompt. So one is hiring out professional for things you don't really feel comfortable with. The second must do tip is don't get too many opinions of people. I think I had a good close knit group. I remember, Kate, I had even asked you some questions about it, but I only asked people that I really, really trusted, and their opinions about things that should go in the book, that shouldn't, and shared that with them. I feel like too many opinions, you get too confusing. It's like picking a baby name right now. Like it's hard enough for me and my husband to decide a baby name, let alone getting other people's opinions for it. So don't get too many opinions. And then the biggest thing, this is number 3 tip, but I think the biggest thing, and I'm just going to throw it in the middle, is be vulnerable. I know I discussed that earlier, but being vulnerable, as much as some people are scared to be vulnerable, it's very, very, very endearing for people. And putting yourself out there, you gain a lot of respect from that. And when I did the book, it was, I wanted to break even on my investment with all of the money I had put into it. But other than that, I just wanted to make people laugh. And I was just so passionate about it. And I just shared with, like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to put it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Obviously, I had goals in mind, but I also shared those too. And I think if you don't put out your goals and you don't be vulnerable, you're not going to, the universe won't come back and give it to you. So I think being vulnerable is really important. So that's number 3. Number 4 is, on top of being vulnerable, also document your journey. I felt like I had shared this information with people, and as I committed that I was doing it, I shared kind of the process of it, and people were really curious about it. So it encouraged them to do their own, and it encouraged them to kind of follow along to see the process. And that really provides more of a relationship and emotional connection with not only consumers but with friends, and they're telling their friends about my journey that I'm documenting writing a book. So I found that I actually got a lot of people really enjoying that part. Or I'd ask people what color background should be the front cover, or stuff like that, and they felt very more attached to my own project.
Yeah.
So when I say don't get too many opinions, you can get opinions about small things, but maybe just not really big things. And then number 5, I think the top 5 tips, and the top 5 tips would definitely be to celebrate your success. Um, in a world of social media, it was really hard for me to be able to share my successes in my mind at the beginning, because I felt like sometimes, your world's only big as what you put on social media. But it is really important to celebrate your successes. And I don't have like a big platform at all, but having just some sort of platform, even a small one, to share, being number 1 on Amazon, or having an influencer post about your book, it is something that you need to share, because you should be proud of those accomplishments. So it's more in a way of trying not to overdo it. Not that I have too much to brag about, but definitely to be celebrating your successes, I think, is really important. And I don't think enough people do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that one really lands with me. Like, just in life in general, celebrating your success
Yeah.
is so important. I
Yeah.
love that. And, I was able to be a part of your sharing story as you created your first book. And I do have to just say that it was so cool for me to also feel like I was a part of it. So
Oh,
As,
good.
as
Yeah.
on the other side of it, seeing all that. And then even when you launched it, getting everyone rallying around, purchasing it on Amazon, like that was such a huge
Yeah.
catalyst to launching you to number one so quickly. And I felt like I helped, it was like,
Yeah, and you should. You did, and I needed the help. Like, I don't ask for help that often, and I was like, "Girl, I need everyone's help right
yeah,
now." So yeah, and I mean that was goes back to being vulnerable too. Like I don't like asking for help at all, but there's definitely a time and a place, and all my friends stepped up for it because when else do you, right?
mhm. Yeah, no, so true. I mean, those are five really great tips. And I think, especially if there's people watching this that are interested in writing, like I'm sure you're probably going to get a few messages. So get ready.
Great.
Um,
More than happy to help anyone. It's not a competitive market to me. I'm all about like girls supporting girls and just people supporting people. But the other thing is there's like no one else can write a book that's exactly like mine. So to me, the more people that can do it, I think the better. It's more just I want people to do it because it's such an accomplishment and it feels so good to actually do. So I'm all about motivating people to do that. So if anyone needs help, let me know. I can put you in touch with the right people.
yeah, you're your number one hype girl. And
Yeah.
actually, talking about the right people. So I have seen you posting about some relationships you've built with some massive names. So like I've seen your
Mhm.
book in Caitlin Bristow's hands and Jillian Harris and Sarah Nicole Landry from the Birds Papaya. Like how I know you have more than that too, and you can promote yourself and throw them out there, but like how did you create those relationships?
Yes, that's a really, really, really great question. Everyone always asks me about the Jillian Harris one because I mean, her talking about something is just like gold. I'm very grateful for her posts and her comments and her love for the books. But it's interesting. I too was vulnerable, and as much as I know people that know some of these influencers, I tried as hard as I could to just do it like everyone else. I reached out to their team, got the mailing address and shipped them books and just hoped that they would like it and post about it. The thing is I have had some like the more authentically someone posts about it, the more sales, the more attention, the better content you're going to get from the book. So I never want someone to post about the book if I'm going to pay them. I never want someone to post about the book if they don't like it because it's never going to come across as authentic. You can totally tell. Having the right demographic of people is really, really important. But the majority of the people who have posted about the book, it's been me DMing them a message and telling them that I've been a big follower for a while, which has been true for like the Birds Papaya too, and wanting them to send the book and telling them don't post about it if you don't like it, but if you really enjoy it, I'd really appreciate you sharing it. And it's worked out for me, thank goodness. I've been really, really, really fortunate about that. And I just did a charity initiative with Caitlin Bristow and with the help of Spade and Sparrows and Mike Johnson as well, who's also part of Bachelor Nation. So that's been really fun, and that's still going on. Where 25% of the proceeds for May for all the Amazon books sold gets donated to Mamas for Mamas, which is also a Jillian Harris favorite charity in Kelowna. So yeah, I'm just, I never say no to interviews like this. I never say no to promotions or collabs. Maybe when I have our newborn baby, I will because I won't have time. But it's just putting myself out there and once again, being vulnerable and wanting to have that authentic response from people who do truly love the book. That's the only way you're going to get the best of having those big influencers and marketing your book, in my opinion.
Oh, such good tips. Authenticity, like number
Yes, it's
one,
huge.
huge. You're
I
right.
know it's a big buzzword right now, but it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, no, I love that, Tage. So cool. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so proud of everything that you're doing and your accomplishments so far. And, obviously we're going to tag the book in here and support you through our network. through our Aura community any way we can. But if there's like, is there any other way that we can support you or anything that we can do for you, or like link these community or these charity initiatives too? I didn't know about that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'll make sure to send you that information. It's for the month of May. But no, I mean I love what you guys are doing too. I think I think it's incredible, and I'm always interested in doing these collabs because we always have a common ground to chat about. And I know you have a lots of females that are so interested in Aura and absolutely love the product. So I think that's really important. Just know spreading the word, and I'm all about making people feel good and like Aura is as well, and making them laugh after a long day. So hopefully that my book can make them laugh too. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, girl. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your last week at work before you hop into another year of
Oof,
mat leave. Oh my God.
oof. It's gonna be crazy. I can't see what book I'm gonna write next after I have the second kid. So if I've already written Mama Needs a Drink and Mama Needs a Vacay, I mean, we'll see what happens
Yeah,
next.
let
That or I'll just be too busy. I can't write one. So
it. Awesome, girl. Well, thank you again. Love seeing your face. I appreciate your energy, love, and light today. And yeah, that's it. We'll talk to you soon.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye, girl.
Bye.